Take me down to the top 3 city where Corey is fresh and Nico is pretty. Boom, ch, boom, ch. Welcome back to Nerd Thug Radio.
I'm fresh.
I'm the Captain Joey
Call me
Savage.
pretty.
Corey DLG.
Nico DLG.
We're in the middle of the weekly top 3. We got Nico's number 3 and number 2 for Corey. What is top 3? Tell everybody.
It's top 3 teenage superheroes in honor of going back to school.
Nico, you had your number 3 was?
Static Shock.
Your number 2 was?
Aqualad.
Aqualad. Corey, your number 3 was?
You right there?
What?
It was Armor and the Young X-Men.
And mine was The Invincible.
Mark Grayson.
Mark
That's his name.
Grayson.
That's his name.
All right, so Corey, we're at your number
Dose.
What you got?
So my number dose is all of the Robins of Batman
But
collectively.
specifically,
Damian Wayne.
Damien, he's a good
Oh,
one.
the new one.
He's my favorite character on Injustice too.
Scary good.
Yeah, he's my
Scary
favorite
good.
Injustice 2 character. But I don't know, like, I like the Robin from Young Justice, like season 1 Robin.
Yeah.
It's just
That's Dick Grayson.
he's just a little kid who's kicking everybody's butt.
Right.
Like,
He was
so
13.
smart. Yeah.
He was super smart. Yeah.
But he was like super small, so it was like, you know, you don't expect a small 13-year-old to just be welling on people like adults who are.
No, you're right. You're
maniacal.
right. And he really had in that show, he had a really cool growth arc
Yeah,
of
he did.
Young Justice. And then in season 2, he's Nightwing.
Right.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree that all the Robins kind of have their cool moments.
They do.
And so there's been some really interesting kind of times with the different Robins. But the idea that Bruce's son
Yeah.
is raised by the League of Assassins and now is a Robin.
It is crazy.
That's just, and he has like a cloak instead of a cape.
Yeah,
like there's
that's
just a lot
so
of
cool.
like just neat
He
elements
carries
to
a
him.
sword.
Right. Right.
awesome.
Robin has a katana.
Wouldn't you say that Robin probably single-handed is the best sidekick of all time? Most popular, best sidekick of all time. Robin.
Most popular, yes, without a doubt. Best,
Who's a better sidekick than Robin?
I would say David Hasselhoff in Knight Rider. Because I'm assuming
I'm
Kit's
talking
the,
comics.
I'm assuming Kit's the real hero.
Yeah, right.
And then
okay.
David Hasselhoff is the sidekick.
In comics, though, like who has a sidekick that is more iconic and is better fit for what he does?
No,
Anybody?
Robin is for sure. And the interesting thing about the Robins is they are all different characters.
Yep.
And so they each had kind of a different goal. And by that I mean, so the very first one, Dick Grayson, for a long time, Batman and him both thought that they were raising him to be Batman someday.
Right.
And then when they basically both realized that Dick Grayson didn't have enough vengeance in his heart to ever be Batman.
Correct.
So he becomes his own hero, Nightwing.
Nightwing, which is a great character
Right.
itself.
And then Jason Todd was a troubled kid that Batman felt like he could save. Mm-hmm. He was always like, he stole the wheels off the Batmobile. That's how he met him.
right.
And so Jason Todd was always a little too BA to be Robin. And so he gets killed and then he turns into something else and now he's the Red Hood and he's cool, but he's kind of an outlaw and a bad guy.
Right.
And then
Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Tim Drake solves the riddle of who is Batman on his own. And Batman's like, you have a great detective mind. You should be Robin. And Tim Drake never wants to be Batman.
No.
He believes that the world needs Batman and he believes the world needs Robin, but he always wants to be his own person. And he doesn't see himself ever being Batman.
Nope.
Matter of fact, at one point, though, they basically have the conversation where Batman says, I'm teaching you to lead the next generation of all heroes. And so each Robin kind of has his own arc, his own growth. And I think that's kind of interesting is that they don't just treat it as Batman number 2. He's not Batman Jr.
Similar, but not congruent.
As a matter of fact, when
Favorite
Batman
statement.
broke his back, the Nightfall storyline, they actually went and got a different person to be Batman instead of Dick Grayson.
That didn't work out too well.
Well, and it didn't. And at first there was a little bit of tension, but when they had it out, Dick Grayson was like, "Why didn't you call me?" And he was like, "You're Nightwing. You don't want to be Batman." And he's like, "Okay, you're right. Good point.
Good point.
My bad."
Nailed it.
But yeah, it's a really interesting role in comic books.
Yeah, Robin, great character.
Yeah.
So my number 2, like you with the first one almost, I'm going to take kind of a group. Mm-hmm. And I'm going with the all-new X-Men.
Okay.
So there's a storyline pretty recent where Beast from the X-Men travels back in time.
He's kind of soul searching.
Yeah, he's soul searching. He goes back in time. He gets the original 5 X-Men.
The teenage versions of the
versions
5 X-Men.
of Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, and Beast himself.
Right.
And he brings them to the present.
Yes.
And for me, since X-Men was created so long ago, I never really got to be a part of the teenage X-Men in the comics. I never got to read all those and actually see those origins. So to see these guys now in the present time, and then they kind of started touching on some new stuff, and they started like taking it up down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like with Iceman and his sexuality, which was a cool thing to do, a cool new story arc to come in there to kind of bridge and talk about what's going on in the real world.
Right.
And then you've got the X-23 even joins them. Her and Angel have their own love story, and you got the Beast kind of warring against one another, and then Jean Grey like wants to change what her path became, and so just those teenagers, and they're fitting in with some of the newer X-Men and interacting. Just really for me, that was one of my favorite things that the X-Men comics have done in a long time.
No, it's definitely really interesting because you see them. It's so much has happened to the X-Men over the years,
Right.
and it's sort of that question of like, would teenage you recognize and be okay with the choices you've made in your life? And so that whole idea is kind of an interesting concept for a superhero because their choices are obviously bigger and on a grander scale than like, do we buy cauliflower today? And so like just to see people have to kind of fight their own future a little bit. Like, I don't want to be this when I grow up.
The Cyclops story.
Yeah, so
The Cyclops story, the Jean Grey one, I mean, they're both like
it
Jean
was
Grey
just-
doesn't want to die.
yeah,
Right.
and it was just awesome seeing the interaction between young Cyclops and old Cyclops.
Right.
Young Jean Grey, old Cyclops. Just that dynamic there was insane.
Yeah, and that's got to be a little weird for like Cyclops and Wolverine, who both love Jean Grey.
Right.
And then like they meet like 15-year-old Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be weird,
Strange.
What do I do here?
right? I mean, because that's like the person you love. Like I
Right.
mean, I don't know how to say that.
Now
You
they're
know
back.
that you're going to love that person, and then like it's
Or do you? Are they the same person?
I don't
Who
know.
are
Right.
you?
I don't know. Are they?
I don't know.
don't
Let's
know.
time travel and find out.
Time
Nico,
travel.
what's your number one?
My number one, Beast Boy.
Beast Boy.
Beast Boy.
I've always loved Beast Boy.
I know you have.
I grew up on the DC animated stuff, as you can tell, is all
The
my
Teen
options.
Titans?
Yeah.
Right. So Teen Titans was my jam.
Teen
I
Titans
watched
Go. Yep.
the jam. Oh, not Go. It can be funny sometimes, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But yeah, Beast Boy, he's great. I loved his sense of humor. Just the fact that he transforms into just random animals.
Yeah.
He
Any
always
animal.
goes like random stuff. He's always like, Tyrannosaurus. That sounds good.
Man, like if you get, yeah, wouldn't you though? Like if, man,
Any animal.
I would perpetually be a sloth, a gorilla, or a hippo. Like those would be my go-to things.
I
Like
go rhinoceros.
Like if we're hanging out at base,
these are all things he's transformed into. Pterodactyl if he wants to fly around.
right? If we're
Right.
hanging out at base, no. See, if I want to fly around, falcon. It's one of the fastest birds on the planet.
I'll go flamingo.
Albatross.
So like if we're just hanging out, I'm a sloth and I'm just laying out on the couch, like just hanging from a hanger, like taking a nap. And
I
they're like,
see a good looking chick, I go koala
right. Yes, she'll cuddle.
or panda.
Panda.
Yeah.
Panda.
Yeah, Beast Boy's a cool character. He's a very cool character.
And then,
Green panda,
and then
though.
pretty much anytime someone lifts me to throw me, hippo.
Hippo.
Oh, I'm gonna get thrown. Hippo.
hungry hippo.
Smash them under me.
Look, hippos are like the most aggressive.
They are.
animal.
Most
Have you
dangerous
seen them
Yeah.
swimming?
They
It
are
is terrifying.
nuts.
Like they are nothing like their ballerina counterparts in Fantasia.
No,
That was misleading.
nor the game Hungry Hippos.
Well, no, that part's probably accurate because they will eat you.
I don't know.
They can break a crocodile's spine with their jaws.
Hadouken!
That's just rude.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Corey, what's your number one?
Very dangerous.
My number one is the whole squad, but I can play, favorites here. Young Justice.
Hey man, I already had one of those.
The Young Justice. Oh, I did too as well. I mean,
Yeah, Aqualad is
Aqualad's on
my
there.
favorite.
But like just the whole team as a general, the way they grew it from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah.
Season 1 was just cool to see like Kid Flash, to see young
Miss
Dick
Martian,
Grayson, Miss Martian,
Artemis
Superboy,
jump in
Artemis,
there. Mhm.
and then to see also
And Speedy's
you know
character.
what story? Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, so I just rewatched season 2 here recently.
Okay.
And when they do that whole arc with Arsenal, and the Arsenal that everyone knows is a clone.
right.
And so the clone goes on a journey to find the original because he feels bad. And the rest of the heroes have spent 5 years and they can't find him, but he never gives up. So like by the time you meet him in season 2, he's ragged, he's out of shape, he's exhausted because he doesn't sleep. Like he's on a full-scale mission. He has one goal and it's singular and he's driven. And so when they find the original and his arm is gone,
Yeah.
and then Lex Luthor gives him an arm. And here's what's weird is that the original is now 5 years younger than his clone because his clone has been out of suspended animation the whole time while he hasn't. And just think about that. So now
crazy.
he's 5 years younger than his original. So like he's the same age as all the young heroes in season 2, but he really was born at the same time as all the old heroes in season 1.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
wild.
Mind blown.
I would say time travel, but it's not even that. It's just cloning and stasis.
Just cloning and stasis.
But so then he has all those weapons in his arm.
Yeah,
He is so cool in season 2.
he is very much so.
I'm glad that they brought him back for season 3.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait for
Static Shock's also in season 3.
He is.
All right,
It's just the Young Justice
For
show.
now.
Right, yeah.
So we're coming up against here. So
What's your number 1?
my number 1,
Is
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, they
I
are
mean,
teenagers.
by
They-
name they apply.
They apply. They are my favorite teenage heroes. I mean, just we grew up with those guys. What more
for
can
sure.
what more can I say about
For
the
sure.
Ninja Turtles? Like,
Yeah.
There's nothing about the Turtles that I do not like. I'm just everything
Right.
about them.
Everything.
And then you didn't have to go to school. That's the best part. They
Right.
didn't have to go to school.
Well, they kind of did. Splinter seems a little tough
I
on
mean,
him.
I would like to go to martial arts school instead of real school.
I don't know.
If I was a turtle with a shell and a
Oh.
hero and a half shell,
Yeah, technically it's a half show.
and
half shell?
get to like play with all of Donatello's inventions,
That's true.
just play hockey in the sewers.
Donnie.
And then eat pizza.
Yeah, and
all the time.
Meet time travelers. Yeah, eat pizza all the time. Hang out
Yeah.
with mutated frogs and alligators.
They did have some cool adventures.
Yeah, they did.
And then they fought a brain that was in the belly of a robot.
Yeah, it's
That's
so insane.
still one of my favorite T-shirt designs ever. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
a
really
crane
cool.
brain, like in the
In
middle
the
of
belly?
the belly.
Yeah.
The only
It's
like
the only thing on it. It's
Belly
great.
of the whale.
it always makes me think of me
Why?
because my brain may be in my belly.
Accurate.
Every time I see food, I might stop thinking about other stuff and just be like, I wonder what this tastes like. This looks delicious.
This looks delicious.
I'm on my 3rd box of those Pringles breadsticks.
I was
Oh,
about to
man.
bring those up.
Man, I've been Chinese food free for a week.
I don't know even know
I
why
don't know
you're-
what's
like-
going on.
Like, why are you punishing yourself?
I don't know. But that's the weekly top 3 this week. Enjoy going back to school this week, kiddos and
Yeah.
college students.
Pay attention, study, and
lame.
learn
And don't forget, Space Cadets Con this Saturday. Nerd Thug Radio will be there
all day. Come see
all
us.
day. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the oh-so-famous Nico DLG segment.
Whoop, whoop.
Nerd Thug Radio. Hashtag talking nerdy to you. Yes, Nico. Yes, yes, yes.